What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review. And today with me, we got my brother B.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, and we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
And we got my man, Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, sir. So we got the Fantastic Four back to review up all these movies and talk about WandaVision. But before we talk about the movies we've seen this week and WandaVision, that episode 6, which was pretty crazy, we're going to talk about some of the news items that came over from the week that's kind of big and, want to talk about those things there. So we're going to talk about Gina Carano getting fired off of The Mandalorian and also Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer that came out for the Justice League that's premiering, I believe, on March 8th, I think it is coming out on. So it should be coming out on HBO Max. That's something we're going to be talking about. So let's get right into it with the Gina Carano news there. Al's a big Star Wars fan, like most of us are. Sanj is becoming a Star Wars fan there.
Definitely a Mandalorian fan. Definitely.
Exactly. And the character that she plays is Cara Dune. She is one of the mainstays on there from the first season. And apparently she has been let go of the Mandalorian season 3 there because of some of the tweets that she's put out there. She's been kind of saying some stuff, and of course, it got her into a little bit of trouble there with Disney. She was warned. She had meetings regarding these, statements that she made. And then all of a sudden, she made another statement that was a little bit far-fetched out there and cost her job there. So, Al, man, what's your thoughts with us and the Mandalorian losing Cara Dune? Do you think that she played a really, really important character that we're going to miss, or something that we can probably get through without her kind of thing?
She played an important character, but not one that would, I think, affect the Mandalorian long term. It may throw some wrenches into other plans because I think she was going to become a big part of one of the spin-off shows, the New Republic, or one of the Republic, where the commandos are going out and gathering all the criminals. But in terms of Mandalorian, she should be able to be easily written out. And like you said, she was warned, so this isn't anything unexpected that she should see as unexpected. Maybe she even wanted it to a certain degree so that she can focus on other projects, but I don't know why you would want to give up a Disney paycheck on a regular.
Yeah, man. And it seems like she was being approached to be part of the next phase of Star Wars movies, or Star Wars, at least the shows on Disney Plus as well, with the New Republic, or the I think the Rangers of the New Republic, or something like that. She was supposed to be one of the mainstays, or the lead actual actress on the show. And now on top of that, she's off of that. She's off of The Mandalorian. I heard that there was rumors that they were going to give her her own show as well, and that all got canceled as well.
Yeah.
Sanj, I mean, I know you're a fan of the Mandalorian series. What's your thoughts on her being fired for these tweets and, like, her effect on the Mandalorian?
Well, from the Mandalorian itself, from affecting the story, I do agree with Al that she's not a character that they can't work around. But I did like her character a lot. And I thought she did a really good job portraying the character. And I do feel like the character was somewhat integral to the Mandalorian story overall. Like, that's one of his most reliable allies, Cara Dune. So really, anytime he needed to rally the troops, that's kind of where he went first, know. But it'll be interesting to see what they do, whether they recast or if they write the character out. As far as Gina Carano, as a person, let me say first and foremost that the tweet that got her in trouble had to do with her comparing being a conservative in Hollywood or in America right now to being being Jewish in Nazi Germany. Yeah. Honestly, I think the only group of people that can speak to what it was like in Nazi Germany are the people who went through it. And those are the only people that should ever speak on something like that and compare anything, because they were the ones that were there. They lived through it. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't agree with her being fired for voicing an opinion. That's her own opinion. She's not advocating violence against anyone. She's not inciting rebellion or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that there has to be consistency because Disney also has James Gunn on the payroll, and he tweets out about making pedophilic jokes, racist jokes, and things like that. But they have him on the payroll,
Yeah, he
So,
got fired for that originally, but they let
but
him
they
back
brought him
on.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So, it has to be consistent. If you're going to be a company that says, all right, we're not going to have this kind of behavior, it has to go for everybody. Right. But if you have one guy over here that's engaging in that behavior and he was rehired, I mean, it's one thing to be fired. It's another thing for them to come back to you and say, you know what? We made a mistake firing you for the stuff that we said was wrong. And here you come back. And then she does something similar and she loses her job. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't agree with anything that she said. I don't
Right.
agree with her. I don't agree with her worldview. I don't agree with anything. But my feeling is just on the principle of it. It's different. Something like when we were talking about Johnny Depp being fired for why he was fired. That's actually perpetrating violence on someone else, right? He actually committed or is allegedly committed an act of violence.
Right. Yeah.
Words.
Wow.
It was just her words. That's it, and she has all right to it. So it's either they're going to be consistent or they're not going to be consistent. And I think if they're going to have James Gunn, it was wrong to fire her.
Yeah, I kind of hear that. There's a lot of people with that sentiment out there. They're saying that, listen, if you can rehire James Gunn for the tweets that he made, his were very distasteful and in trying to be funny, or maybe he wasn't being funny. But they definitely, I know they had originally just fired him as soon as they saw the tweets. But, he tried to explain it away like it was 10 years ago. I was in a different mind place. I'm a different person now than I was then. And I guess he kind of made amends for that mistake, and it continues to make amends for the mistakes there. But I did worry about that also because there is a level of freedom of speech, but then there's also the job's right to hire and fire who they want on their job too. So it's like it's a little bit of everything. So it's a tough call. I mean, what about you, Brandon? What's your thoughts on the whole situation there with her?
I agree with what you said, Hav. In terms of her and the Mandalorian, the way Mandalorian is going and what could be the intended storyline for the third season does seem like it's going to be pulling away from those characters and kind of focusing more on Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian and their relationship, maybe moving to Mandalore. So it does seem to be moving away from her anyway. Now, just the chance of her coming back is nil. So I didn't think with the way the story was moving, I didn't think it was a big issue in terms of not having her on the show. It's like, oh, she's not. It doesn't seem like she'll be on the show from this point anyway. But and to yours and Sanja's points, I do agree that there needs to be kind of like an agreement on where the line is, and I have to say that it's I think the whole thing in what she said about being a conservative in Hollywood, and I think it's fine to be whatever party, like the same way I feel about politics. You can be whatever party, have your own beliefs, but it's in the way that you kind of instill your beliefs. Now, her tweet, I agree with Sanjay, had no reason to be out there. There was no reason for that, but at the same time, that wasn't anywhere as bad as what Roseanne said. That was another conservative in Hollywood. She got fired immediately. Her show canceled because of what she said was so offensive, and I agree. To Sanjay's point, her tweet was very offensive. If you weren't in Nazi Germany, you have no right talking about Nazi Germany. Like you have no right to talk about an experience you never lived, and putting it off that way. What I do think is I feel like maybe that should have been something that Disney and her kind of take her off of the season, but not fire her. This is maybe something in the point of James Gunn. How can you make amends to being in the Disney limelight? Because when you work for Disney, you have to have some kind of limelight on you that matches the Disney persona in a sense. Yeah, you gotta be
Disney.
Exactly. You have to look the part in some way, shape, or form. So I can see why her tweets got her fired, but I feel like there should have been like a undisclosed. We didn't need to know she was fired, even in the way Lucasfilms talked about it. Like, we have no plans for her in the future. I feel like that should have just been something between them and her, and maybe bring her in the future if she were to make amends. But to publicly fire her and do this between Lucasfilms and make it seem like, yeah, we don't want her anymore kind of a thing, I felt it was wrong on their part. because at the same line they gave James Gunn a chance 10 years, after he made those tweets. So I think there needs to be a line, and I feel like I understand what the election year that we've had and have still been going through, in a sense, that being a liberal and conservative, you feel a certain way if you're conservative, I guess, because of how things have been going out in the media. But I feel like you say, freedom of speech, as long as what you're saying isn't superbly offensive like Roseanne, and maybe there's a means between you and your company and alleviating or talking about this issue without putting it the way that they did. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
man, I get you. I mean, me personally, I love the character in the show. I really didn't know who Gina Carano was before the show. I'm trying to really see a MMF or a
MMA.
fighter.
MMA.
MMA. There you go. MMA fighters. And I never heard of her before that. Honestly, I just heard of her from the series, and I did like her character. She played a strong character because the Mandalorian's getting his ass kicked every episode. Here she is busting ass every episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So to replace that, I don't want them just to now get Michelle Rodriguez or another strong female that fights. That's just kind of corny. So
Why
it's just
not?
like, I mean, I just
you don't want
yeah.
like what you got against Michelle Rodriguez, bro? Like
no. I love the actress, but at the same time, it's like, oh, we're just gonna replace her with another strong female. Like I don't know. I don't.
You want a weak person to
No. I'd rather
I'm
them
just
like.
giving you a hard time, bro.
And of course, I get that. But I kind of want them to kind of go like Brandon was kind of saying with the Bo-Katan route now. Let her take that strong position instead of like bringing this brand new person. Like, oh, we found another person who's just like, Cara Dune. Like that's corny. You found the same kind of character,
Yeah, whatever you bring in, let it bring in for the story, not to check a box.
Exactly. That's my point there. Better said, Al. Better said. He put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Oh man.
But I mean,
Listen,
it's just a reminder though, to that, you can see someone play a character on TV, and the person behind the character can be absolutely nothing like the character. Like you would never think that Cara Dune would behave that way, right? Because you figure she's a badass. She's gonna kick some ass, right? But she generally does the right thing. She has a code of honor there. And sometimes we try to, we place this this morality on the actors, or we hold them in high esteem the way we hold the character in high esteem.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those reminders, is that the person behind the character is not the character. So you got to always separate those two, unless you're talking about Patrick Stewart.
I always like wanted to talk to like Chris Evans about being Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel
if
to
he ever does some I will be heartbroken if he ever does some dumb shit like that, and really comes out he's not a nice guy. Like, I will be heartbroken.
That guy's a gentleman,
so
man.
Funny, like in the what was it, a couple months ago? Like he accidentally like showed off a dick pic on like TV and got caught, and like his way of like playing it off was like he owned up to it so genuinely that it was so Cap. Like if Cap accidentally took a dick pic and showed it off, like it was so Cap.
Yeah, like if Captain America, he's like, listen, I'm new to the technology. I didn't know.
Shared the stories.
Nah, nothing will ever take away Steve Captain Rogers there.
Mm-hmm.
On the Oscars, when he helped Regina Bell walk up the steps because her dress was long.
Gina King.
Chris, who was it?
Gina King.
Sorry, Regina King. Yes. When he did that, man, I was like, that's that freak. That's Captain America right there.
Like, he should have had his shield with him, like at the same time. Like,
that was
you gotta bring it everywhere.
Right.
You gotta bring it everywhere.
She passed a bunch of dudes and nobody stood up to help her. And he went up and, oh God, he's the best. Chris Evans, man. Now let's get into some better and happier news, hopefully. And we got Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer popping off on Valentine's Day. And that trailer surprised the hell out of me. They put in a lot of stuff on there that just surprised me and wowed me. And one of my best things is, of course, the Batman scene towards the end of it, where we'll talk about in a sec. Sanj, as a big Batman fan as you are, what was your thoughts in seeing this new trailer, this new iteration for this Justice League for you?
It's a completely different movie, and it's not the same movie. Like, it's the same people acting, right? But it's not the same movie. So it's very interesting how, you can take some footage, reshoot a few things, move things around, and completely different, right? And then the look of it looks so much better than what they actually put out. I'm like, why didn't they just go with this? Because the whole thing was that they had issues with his version of the story, right? And his vision for it. I'm like, well, that was the good version. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? I don't understand why the studios sometimes shoot themselves in the foot by putting out the version that is not the good one. Like, yeah, right. You had to see this, But anyway, I'm excited. I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely, man. How about you, Al? What was your thoughts on that trailer there?
No, it made me more excited again about the show coming, the movie. Apparently, I thought it was going to be an installment series. Now it's a 4-hour movie. But one of the things that I liked is it seems like each character now is getting a full part of the movie. Yeah. Which, especially given that it's 4 hours, is justified. But, I felt like Cyborg wasn't fleshed out well. Flash wasn't given enough background. So seeing that more of their story and more of their back development is going to come forward really made me more excited about watching this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I just hope they keep the scene where when Flash is running around thinking that Superman can't keep up with him, and then Superman looks at him and then he trips him. I hope they keep that scene because that scene was incredible.
Absolutely, man. And Brandon, man, in that trailer we have, the scenes with Cyborg popping out a new gun that I didn't see before. We also have Flash with his girlfriend in the show, showing up in the trailers as well. We got a few new scenes with Aquaman, and then of course we have that last scene of the trailer where it looked like a SWAT officer was sitting on the roof of a car, and it turns around, it's freaking Jared Leto's Joker, but not Jared Leto's Joker. It's
not Jared Leto's Joker.
What's your thoughts on that?
It's funny. We talk about trailers a lot, and we talk about trailers giving away the whole movie or giving away the whole story. I know nothing. This trailer just did shit. There was just shit that happened, and I was like, all right, I can't wait. I'm very excited. But that was the coolest thing was at the end, and I don't know if I'm gonna say cool or not yet, but it was the reveal of the Joker was something I wasn't expecting, and then for him to kind of not be the Joker that we know, right. maybe it was just the way he delivered the line, and he'll act a different way later. But it was funny. It was like he sounded just like Jared Leto and not like the Joker. And I'm just like, oh, we're getting a serious Joker. Like, he ain't joking around. Like, okay. So it was almost kind of like a bridge of Heath Ledger too, if you caught that.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
Way he finished his line. So it was very interesting. But the trailer was so dynamic between the black suit Superman, I don't think I saw maybe one scene, maybe two scenes at most from the original movie. Mm-hmm. And I just love that it says Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, not just Justice League, not DC's Justice League.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's name needs to be bigger than Justice League, like on that movie, right?
They're just gonna change it to Zack Snyder. That's it.
I mean, I would have said though with the trailer, like we talk about the trailers giving away stuff. I wouldn't have had the Joker or not the Joker, whatever, in the trailer. I would have left that for the movie, and let that be like a big reveal in the movie. Because we're gonna go see that. We're gonna see the movie anyway, right? So it's not like that was the draw. That's gonna be like, all right, now I'll go see it. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't need to do it. Like, I just, that's the kind of stuff I wish they would just keep back. So when you see it, that's like those moments, those aha, moments.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And as far as that Joker goes, it's definitely not the honka Joker from freaking Suicide Squad. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm iffy on that Joker from Suicide Squad, but I'm hoping he makes it back up with this Justice League version of the Joker. There's also
no tattoos.
Deathstroke, huh? Yeah,
He
no
had no
tattoos,
tattoos.
no damaged. Yeah, man. And there's, again, there's rumors of Deathstroke being in this movie. Also, rumors of Lex Luthor being in the movie. It's all going to be worthwhile to see all this stuff, pay out. And the last thing, just real quick on this thing, what do you guys think of the way that what's the main bad guy's name?
Steppenwolf?
No,
Steppenwolf
no,
or
not
Darkseid?
Steppenwolf. Darkseid. What do you guys think of the look of Darkseid? I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was the way he should look. It was perfect.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah.
yeah, good stuff there, man. Can't wait.
Even the new Steppenwolf the design is better than the last one.
Yeah, it looks a lot better, a lot cleaner. That's the power of the second opinion. Oh, they can like that. Take it off.
Well, again, look, remember they did this with Sonic, right? They put
Yeah.
something out, it was trash, right? And then they went back to the drawing board. They could have done the same thing. Save us a hell of a lot, like 3 hours of watching a movie that basically we're gonna throw out now.
I know. Just crazy. I can't wait to see this, man. March 8th, we'll be watching it with you guys 4 weeks in a row of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we'll get to
I
you
like
guys.
that he made it 4 hours too. It's like a fuck you, like.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And listen, that's the news for this week. If you guys have any opinions on the Gina Carano situation or Zack Snyder Justice League, let us know in the comments below. Email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on those two topics there. And now let's get into something we haven't done in a long time. And that's why I'm glad we have the four of us here today. We're going to go over some movie reviews or some reviews of some things that we've seen over the past couple of weeks there, because we've been just talking about WandaVision the whole time. So the freaking WandaVision is taking up the whole episode.
Like, where's the problem?
So before we get into
the problem,
it's a good thing, very good thing. But before we get into WandaVision episode 6, let's talk about some of the things we did see. And I'll set it off first because I did see about 2 or 3 different things. I just want to make sure you guys get a chance to know about this. So the first thing I did get to see this year was The Little Things with Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, Brandon already, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek. And I got to say, man, I look forward all the time to any movie featuring Denzel Washington. And this is the first time where I was like, what the hell just happened? I cannot believe this movie let me down in the way it was. And you know what, Al? I'm going to tell you what this movie felt like to me. It suffered from feeling yourself. When you think you got 3 actors of those calibers, you don't think you got to put out a good story. And I don't know what this movie was going for. The ending made no sense. In the beginning, like the first half hour to an hour of the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is updated 7. Let's do this."
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go anywhere, man. I don't know. I listen. If you're asking me what I think about The Little Things, I would say don't rush to go see it. It's not worth your time. I mean, if you want to see just your favorite actors acting in there, because there's 3 great ones. It really, at the end of the day of that story, it didn't go anywhere, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys, any of you get to catch The Little Things?
Yeah.
Well, because
I got to see it. You go ahead.
no, because you said it wasn't that good. Like you texted out before, like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna waste my time. Because I get weary of movies like that have that many great actors in it. It's almost like the Brooklyn Nets right now. You got 3 MVPs over there, and it's not working out too well. You know what I mean? It's like they should, So I get very weary when I see that much talent, being billed in the movie. I'm like, God, the story sucks. It's one of those buy tickets. It sucks.
Definitely going up for that.
This either.
I know, right?
That is definitely a nominee for the Palpatine Award this year. That's for sure. Oh man,
early front runner.
Yeah, definitely. That was a letdown. Al, what'd you think of the movie, man?
To your point, other than the acting, it was horrible. Like the only reason to watch it was you had 3 actors breathing life into a script and a story that had nothing to it. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, every aspect. You had Denzel playing a stereotypical, the old cop being brought back in to solve an old case, this and that. Acted the role well, but there was nothing too new to that character. Then you had Rami Malek playing the new upstart cop, but there was nothing special about the
Yeah,
cop. He was,
so typical.
yeah. And then Jared Leto just being the Jared Leto. So, I mean, if it wasn't for the three of them, there really would be nothing to this movie to watch.
Because
But
they
they
just
did-
followed three of them the whole time. That's all it
Yeah,
did.
basically, that was it. You just really had three good actors putting in
It was on
good
screen the whole
performances,
time.
but it was trash script and the story was horrible.
There was no action.
There was no action. He drove his car once. And it wasn't a chase. It was just I drove my car.
You got a lot of space in your trunk.
What was with
so
all
weird.
of it? And then just point a random point, and that was it. I don't understand.
Oh God.
What the fuck is going on in this movie?
Crazy.
You know it's bad when the only entertaining thing that the thing that's supposed to be entertaining is Jared Leto. Like he's supposed to be the thing that gets you into the movie more than anything else. And he is boring as shit. Like he's just saying stupid shit. When he went to the bar and ordered like a not a Bloody Mary.
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple. Can I get a Shirley Temple to go? I was like, what was so menacing about this? What's with the music? It was so bad.
Oh man, yeah, you guys hear little things. Don't do it to yourself, guys. Sanj, you catch any movies in the last couple weeks there?
Yes, I have. Saw Malcolm and Marie with John David Washington and Zendaya.
Yes.
Very disappointing, but Zendaya's performance was superb.
Mm-hmm.
But the story was disappointing. I found
the 2-hour argument.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour argument, but I also found it very there were a lot of cringeworthy moments.
Oh, the arguing was disgusting.
Yeah, he's a monster. Like the guy, that dude is, he's a freaking monster. And me and my wife were watching, and we thought it was gonna be something different, and then
he was the antagonist.
Yeah, and then for the most part, Zendaya's wardrobe is gratuitous in throughout the movie. Not that I minded. I'm just saying. I expected better. As hyped as it was, I expected better. But Zendaya's performance was superb. Also saw what was it? I had it down here. Oh yeah, One Night in Miami. That was incredible. I really enjoyed that. There's nothing else to say. Like that, definitely, everybody needs to go see that. It was just such an incredible take.
How about that conversation between Jim Brown and Malcolm X when they were alone?
Yo,
wow!
I just love that dynamic right there. It changed the whole perspective of the argument that they were having, right? And then when Sam Cooke comes back later, and he gives it to Malcolm, but subtly, just watch the movie because it really puts it in perspective. Like there's so many ways to move forward, because I tend to have the Malcolm X character, the dialogue that he had, that tends to speak to me more, like his mindset and how he wants to do things and whatever. But then you have it was such great perspective to listen to the point of view of everyone else. And
exactly. Yeah.
And you see how now when they explain, listen, we're working for progress too. We're just doing it in a different way because there's many different ways to do it, But One Night in Miami was really good as well. I haven't really seen anything else new just because we've been watching a lot of old movies as well.
Right.
Introducing the kids to a lot of classics. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Oh man, my kids were loving it, especially my little daughter. She just runs around the house singing na 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 na, and she's like, I ain't afraid of no ghosts, and they love it. And then we watched Coming to America with our son. We didn't watch that with our daughter. Our son's a little older, so even that, he might still be a little too young for coming to some of the stuff that's in Coming to America, but whatever, who cares,
Yeah,
So yeah, he loved it. He loved that too. So now
that's
in preparation
awesome.
for next week, I think is next week, no, the week after, Coming to America Part 2 is coming out. So I've been really really excited for
Yeah.
that. So yeah, we just
So
been
Josh is already ready for the prep. You're ready
yeah.
for the prep for Coming to America. All
Yeah,
right.
hype, bro, hype. No, but yeah, we've been watching a lot of older movies and like
Gotcha.
to introduce the kids to a lot of the older stuff, but notably Ghostbusters and Coming to America. There were some of the notable ones.
You go, man. I mean, like yourself, I did see Malcolm and Marie, and I gotta say, man, that was the longest argument I had to watch. That was pretty cringeworthy. Respect to actually both of them, man. I mean, they acted their asses off. The only reason I don't give a bigger shout out to John David Washington is because his way of arguing was disgusting. Jesus, bro. So it was just hard to watch. It's funny because it was phenomenal acting. So you would think that it's a good movie, but at the same time, I personally know I'm never going to see that movie again. I can't watch that again. But respect to Zendaya's character in the movie, Marie, because those little bombs that she would implant in his head that would explode 5 minutes later, amazing. You're
No,
mediocre.
but bro, the scene with the knife.
Oh, Jesus. I
Yo, she
listen,
got me because I was sitting there looking, and then when she broke from the scene, I was like, holy shit.
that scene with the knife, I was afraid my wife was going to see something she didn't want to see. So I covered my wife's eye. And when she broke, she was
One
just
eye. Yeah,
joking around.
she only
I
has one
said,
eye.
I just clapped because I was like, that was phenomenal. That was- I thought she was going to do something crazy. Al, man, talk to me, man. What movies you got to catch over the last couple of weeks there that we haven't talked about?
Basically, we've been on like a horror movie kick. So we caught Come Play and The Empty Man. Uh,
Gotcha.
so yeah. Come Play, definitely watch. It's not the greatest horror movie, but it's a good one from beginning to end. Empty Man, stay away from. Just stay away
Stay
from
away
that
from
one.
that.
Yeah. That one
Yeah, I
was
like
the
Come Play.
best.
Come Play was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had an interesting premise. I mean, it's the same boogeyman coming through, to
Uh,
get you, and you have to do a certain thing. But I like the flip at the end as to how they got away, they were able to get away and so forth. But definitely Empty Man. Oh my God, which is sad because it's well shot. I thought it was well produced, but it just was the story wasn't there. And I can't, me,
Gotcha.
I'll watch a movie that I hate till the end just
Mhm.
to give it a chance, and
Yeah.
I was disappointed and let down. So
Gotcha, man.
yeah, I was gonna
Me?
watch that movie. You guys keep talking about Malcolm and Marie, but I heard that same thing that it was just a 2.5 hour
Yeah.
argument, and that it's a very verbose argument. So I was like, yeah.
It just goes back
And
and
it's mo- and
forth.
it's and it's
Tennis
mostly
match.
John David Washington. Like he does, like it's like 75-25, and Zendaya destroys him with just like 25. With her 25. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Inauthentic. Just little mind bombs. Little mind bombs.
Mediocre.
Don't got to say much. He would talk for like 20 minutes. She goes, mediocre.
And
That's all he needs.
he's like,
What do you mean mediocre?
did you really
Inauthentic.
did you really mean it? Yes. Yes. I meant it.
I made you. Why would I play you? B Dog, talk to me, man. What movies have you caught or anime there that you've been watching, man? How about yourself?
Oh gosh. So I've watched a couple things. I highly recommend on HBO Max the Tiger Woods documentary, part 1 and part 2.
Mhm.
It's really good. And I don't like golf. I can't even fake it. I don't like golf. But I'm always interested in like the athletes, like
Mhm.
watching The Last Dance. Like I'm not huge into basketball, but I know about basketball. But I'd love to see something about Michael Jordan. Like I'd love to see the frame of mind, what happened, what he went through. So the same thing with Tiger Woods. Like I don't care for golf. I don't know who anybody is. I just know I drink the Nicklaus drinks. Like I don't know anything else. So like learning about Tiger Woods and basically knowing that he was like made for golf as a kid, like he was on TV as a kid and everything like that, and kind of watching him and his thought process going into tournaments and all the people he kind of like threw out of his life because of a way of mind or his family, like it was pretty interesting to see. And then how it went through his scandal and everything like that, and seeing what led up to it, how things kind of went during it, and the effect on him afterwards, and his kind of golf game, and how his injuries kind of caught up with all of that at the same time. It was a really cool watch, and it really gets you in because it's told from the perspective, not even from Tiger Woods or his family. It's literally told from all the people he's ditched in this upbringing. And like it's crazy because you're like, what valuable information do you have to tell me about Tiger Woods? And it's like his caddy who was with him up until he fired him, like, you know, like, and it's told from all these people who genuinely love and care for Tiger Woods because he was their family, and they made him family when he felt like his family wasn't there for him, or paving his way through life in a different way that didn't seem humanistic. And so like it's told from these people's point of view, of people who cared and loved him, and you learn all these things about him, and you see like home videos and everything, and it was really cool to see another light of a person that you thought a certain way of, you know, like
Right.
I knew Tiger Woods was a great golfer, probably one of the best golfers next to John Nicklaus. But you know, it's like I didn't really understand him, and like this really puts him in the context of his struggles, and he shows up at the very end of this thing, and it was cool because he had nothing to do with it, unlike The Last Dance where it was Jordan and everybody else who was on the Bulls, you know. So it was really cool to see that.
And that made it personal.
And that made it personal for me. It was really funny because at one point they even talked about him hanging out with Jordan, and I was like, man, why would you hang out with Jordan?
Dude, greatness hangs together, man.
Yeah, man.
Greatness hangs together.
And then a cool thing is for any of my 2000 kids or late 90s kids, they remade Digimon. They took the original Digimon and made it a new series and kind of recreated it and went through a whole process, and it's been really awesome. Highly recommend. It's on Hulu. Right now it's not dubbed over, so it's all subtitles, but it's been really cool. Very different from the original series in the way it's moved in the story. And I really like it, so I do highly recommend go watch Digimon on Hulu. It's really good. And then the last one is on Hulu as well, called The Promised Neverland. I don't know if I brought this up before. It's an anime show that literally you would walk away from reading the description. It's about like orphans living like in a manor, and you like it's in the description, like just like, oh, okay, it's like a cutesy show.
So it's the X-Men.
Actually, it goes that way. not mutants, but it's like, you know,
there
like,
isn't a bald guy in a wheelchair that like kind of runs the show, is there?
Oh no. But it's like, you think it's like a cutesy anime because it's about kids and they're orphans. You're like, oh, they're all trying to get adopted, and it's like 20 minutes into the episode, shit goes dark real quick, and it's a whole different show what you thought. I watched the whole first season in like 3 days. It's so cool. I don't want to give any of it away because after the first episode, it's just like on the run from where it needs to go, and the music is incredible in the show. I would highly recommend watching. Even you guys, like I would say, really watch The Promised Neverland. It's really, really good story.
All right, Brandon, you got to give me that Hulu password. No problem.
Send your way.
On it. All right, man. That's awesome, man. Listen, it's great to do these movie reviews because we are called The Real Fan Review. We haven't done a single review in 3 weeks. So
we're the real WandaVision reviewers.
And speaking of WandaVision, guys, let's get right into WandaVision episode 6, which was an all-new spooktacular show. So, guys, of course, the warning ahead of time, we are going to go into spoilers on WandaVision episode 6. So if you have not seen it, step away, pause us, come back to us. We're going to go full into this episode 6. We're going to start now. So, guys, WandaVision episode 6, I called it there was no way they can get more crazier than the episode 5 and 4. So it kind of like calmed down a little bit. But because it calmed down a little bit, I was just like, oh, it wasn't that good. But then I kept watching it, and I'm like,
You didn't
not
think this
bad.
was crazy too? I think they just keep stepping it up every week.
They did, but like the 5th episode was like, oh my God, like this episode was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, okay, cool.
Bro,
it's kind of crazy.
When the veil dropped for that second and you see all the bullet holes in Pietro,
nah. It's nuts what's going on in this show, man. I mean, it's funny because last week I was like, I'm convinced she's not doing it by herself. And now I'm back to she's doing it by herself. It's insane what the thoughts are going on. But let's get right to the beginning and work our way to the ending and everything. So, this looks like the episode that heads into the, I guess, 90s, 2000s kind of thing, following over Malcolm in the Middle, something I used to watch a little bit when I was younger. Didn't watch too much of Malcolm in the Middle, but I remember the theme song and the way that it entered there and the kids talking to the camera.
Bro. That show was so hilarious.
Yes, no, I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
So it was kind of cool. And then, I mean, the first thing I saw here is Wiccan. It's just in his Wiccan costume, kind of. And I was like, oh, we're doing this right off the bat. And then you find out they're in all Halloween costumes, man. And for all the people who want the comic book costumes, I hope you like what you got, because that shit look corny. WandaVision.
Wanda can stay in that outfit. I'm all right.
She called herself a Sokovian gypsy, yeah. But even in that little part right there, we get back to kind of the thing that were going on in the last episode, was this argument that was coming up with Wanda and Vision. And I thought there was like a nice little subtle thing to it where she was like, what happens is Vision is going to go out with the security team to find out what's going on in the town. And she goes to him, well, that's not what you're and she stops talking, basically hinting that she was going to say, that's not what you're supposed to do, And I just find it interesting because it's like, what does she mean by that? Like, does she have things for everyone to do, man? Like, this is just nuts to me, and he goes off on his own. And then we have Pietro now being played by what's his name? Peters?
Evan Peters.
And it's like almost like nothing new is here. But meanwhile, like you just showed up. Like, this is crazy. We're still trying to figure out if you're from the X-Men universe or you're just somebody else. And I think this kind of cleared up those things. So let's talk about that right now real quick, which is, with Wanda and Vision's little thing, because pretty much after this, there's no Wanda and Vision in this episode. They're separate completely. So let's talk about that little section right there, and also about Pietro kind of not being from the X-Men universe. It really seems like he is just a recasted version of Pietro. So B-Dog, talk to me, man. What's your thoughts on her about to tell Vision that he was not supposed to do that?
And how the episode kind of went out and how it kind of flowed with what Vision was supposed to do, what Vision then discovers, and how it all goes. I feel like what we saw when Vision was like the white Vision, the dead Vision with the grayed out eyes and all that, I don't think that this Vision is the same Vision that we saw in pieces. I think this is the manifestation of Vision. And this is why he can't remember anything. Not that he's been online or anything like that. I just feel like she made him, just like she made the kids, just like she's making Pietro. I think they're all manifestations. So, like, because she said you weren't supposed to do that, kind of means that she was writing his story. She was writing out how he was supposed to go.
Let me stop you for a second with Pietro. Pietro remembers, though.
But Pietro can remember. I don't think she's the one making the manifestations.
But does he remember? Because every time he says something, Wanda responds, I don't remember it that way.
And then she asked him questions. He was just like,
he avoids the answers, yeah.
And then,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, he has a version of it, right? But he has memories, whereas Vision has no memories. Outside of Westfield.
Something off with that.
I think
And then
she
how
makes
Pietro
Vision's
said,
manifestation, but I think Pietro is a manifestation made by somebody else,
Yeah.
based off of the
Then
questions he was asking.
yeah, it kind of feels like he's trying to get information on how she's doing this.
Yeah.
And kind of
Yeah.
leading her a certain way to think.
Mm. I wonder, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it is weird because like it seems like the
but he
memories he
said
does
that
have.
but
Yeah,
he
go
also
for
said
it.
that he called her there. I mean, that she called him there. Like, it's not like he was sent
That
by
could be
somebody else.
that could be a way to get her to think a certain way. Like, no, you called for me. Could be a way for her to either, yeah, she maybe made the manifestation herself, or maybe a way of getting her to think a certain way because he said that line.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's weird because she's like, she's testing him the entire episode also. She's trying to be like, oh my God, you remember that kid that stole your boots? And he's like, you're testing me.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty
And then
funny and
how
weird, man.
and how she's like, well, what happened to your accent? And he's like, well, what happened to your accent?
Don't call me on my bullshit. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Al, what's your thoughts on everything going on there?
I'm still with the same belief that she's controlling and manifesting everything, but somebody else is steering her.
Mhm.
Like they're throwing, and that's what I think the brother is. I think that was a little plot device, so to speak, since they're on a show, to gear her towards showing her tricks. Okay, fine. She didn't reveal it to Vision. She didn't reveal it to her kids. Maybe she'll reveal it to her dead brother. Because he came in again. He doesn't know anything. He makes the comment about being shot on the street, and then next thing he knows, he's there. So to your point, I don't think this is Quicksilver from the Fox movies. I think this is this Pietro, her brother that was killed, and for whatever reason being just recast. To his point, because she didn't want to remember the past as well. So she changed how he looks just because she didn't want to face the true memory of her past. Like he said, she doesn't deal with trauma. But one of the lines that he says when he was questioning her about how she's doing everything makes me feel that's the reason why Vision also doesn't remember, is that when asked her about how she did everything, he said that she took all the ethical considerations into effect. One of the things he says was that she based their personalities on what's actually underneath. So their personalities on the show are kind of based on who they were
Who
in
they
real
are.
life. Yeah. So that's why Vision doesn't have memories, but he still acts like Vision because he's acting like the man she fell in love with. She's acting based on how he was when he was alive.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And Science, what's your thoughts on all this stuff, man, with
But
Wanda?
if he's a manifestation and he's not the Vision or the reanimated body of Vision, why did she bother stealing the body then? What would be the purpose of stealing the body if she could just make it all up anyway?
Well, because they were doing something back to why I think they were going to make a weapon out of him, and she took the body for that.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, they're doing something
then
down there.
somehow got stuck in this loop. Yeah,
I
and then
think
whatever.
that's where that Project Cataract comes in. And that's the only thing that makes me think that this Vision is the real Vision, but she's making him in a sense, is because that Project Cataract, how they have the ability to track vision. I think that's kind of how they're doing that. Is Cataract is
right?
the
Like how
camera
would
for
they
them
be
to
able
see in.
like how would they be able to track Vision himself? Right. Remember, they were tracking him there because they were tracking the vibranium signature. Because if he was an apparition, he wouldn't necessarily be made out of vibranium. He would be like a manifestation then. Like he would just be energy. Right.
Yeah, see, the only thing that got me was when he went through the barrier, where he was breaking away as if he didn't actually exist. And that was the only thing that got me, was he seemed like he didn't exist, because as he was falling on the floor, very Infinity War like, his body was breaking away and kind of withering away. So it kind of seemed like he wasn't real because of that, but I didn't really know how to feel about it. Like maybe the pieces that she took of Vision, maybe, those are actually on him, but the pieces that were withering away were the pieces that she couldn't take,
Right.
or I don't really know. It was a little confusing there.
Yeah, because we've been sold pretty much that whatever comes out of there stays as it was, right? Monica Rambeau came out with the 60s or the 70s clothing that she had, and it still was there. So why was Vision going back and almost degenerating almost in front of our eyes? You know what I mean? Like, not degenerating, sorry, disintegrating in
Because I
front of
think
our
I
eyes
think
there.
I think he is the real Vision, and I think she's adding something to him, right? And whatever she's adding to him to reanimate him, that's what has to stay in the hex or whatever they're calling
Gotcha.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty interesting, man. And like the
Because he
conversation that
has
they,
he has the
yeah.
powers of the Mind Stone too. When he's able to undo her spell by touching someone on the head and like releasing them from the spell for a little bit. So he still has the powers of the Mind Stone. So did she, reanimate the Mind Stone too as well? I don't know.
Yeah, and speaking of that thing that he does with the fingers on people's foreheads there, what's your guys' thoughts on what's going on with Agnes? Because a lot of people have this thing that she's Agatha Harkness from the comic books, or this evil person or part of the plan. She's definitely something involved in there. I don't think we got really much of a clue on what's really going on, because when he did tap her forehead, I don't know if she was lying or playing a thing, because everyone that was around her was completely still not moving. And she was the only one that was kind of like murmuring something. And at the same time, when he did release her from there, she did come across like she didn't know where she was, what she was doing, kind of like told Vision that he was dead, and, that he's one of the Avengers. He didn't know what the Avengers were. I'm going, it's all part of the show, of course, to do this, but I'm going back and forth between who's in control. Is Agnes bad? Like, I have no idea what's happening, and we got 3 episodes left.
Agnes definitely knows more than everyone else in
Her and Herb.
Westfield.
Her and Herb, definitely.
Yeah, like they're part of it somehow. They're or the advanced level or whatever. They're not just pawns in all of this, because remember, like how in the episode 5, how Agnes made a mistake and she's like, oh, do you want to take that from the top again? Like she's part of this whole deception, and not completely under Wanda's control.
Yeah. And Herb, and to your point, Herb too, because when they were in the street and she seemed confused, his comment to her was, do you want me to change anything?
Yeah.
So that was the only comment that I thought was odd. Like, why would he be asking her if she wanted him to change anything? I thought about their environment, like not, Vision working. It was, did you want me to change anything that's going on? And I thought that was a little out there for someone who's supposed to be under the spell of the show.
Yeah, those 2 characters, man. It's something going on there, man.
Yeah.
And then, if you guys watch throughout the episode of that show, you see Pietro's constantly having questions. She's constantly has a question about him as far as who he is and why he looks different, and kind of testing to see if it is him. But there's a lot of questions that Pietro's asking her that seems more than just being inquisitive. Sounds like there's like a motive behind there. Like, Brandon, what was your thoughts on Pietro and Wanda's like interactions throughout the episode there for yourself?
Mephisto vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was, a lot of the conversation, and even outside of their conversation, just in that general vicinity of things, there was questions that were very demonic, and the way he was talking, he was saying things that were like very reminiscent of darkness and things like that. And it was interesting because, like, if there was any kind of giveaway for like, hi, I'm like Satan, like it was like in that scene kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that conversation was really, it was almost reminiscent of her and Vision's fight, in the sense where the 2 of them are just questioning each other and they're just not getting anything out of it. But is his motive to learn, or is his motive to make her feel a certain way, get angry, or think a certain way? So like, what's his actual motive here? Is he just trying to make her feel or think a certain way so that someone can control her more, or figure out how her power works so that way they can control her more? So like, it was very interesting in the way that they led their conversation, because it kind of seemed like it was meant for Wanda to feel a certain way and maybe feel a certain way about herself.
Gotcha, man. And Sanj, man, what's your vibes on Pietro there? What you getting from him?
There's more to him than him just being her reanimated, resurrected, recast brother. There's something more to it, especially because of the way he showed up and the fact that he is different. than what she remembers, right? Because with Vision, she remade Vision. If she did remake Vision, she remade Vision exactly as he was, right?
Yeah.
With all the powers, all the look and everything. So it would make sense that if she remade Pietro all on her own, then or called Pietro on her own, that it would have been as she knew him, right? That she wouldn't have actively made those changes. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a little bit more to him.
Gotcha, man.
And
Al, you too, right?
Oh, sorry.
Go for it. What you say, Sanj?
No. And then another thing I thought was interesting was Monica Rambeau, the whole part about her DNA being rewritten.
Yeah.
So,
little hints. Definitely little hints there.
Little hints.
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask Al was like, in regards to what's going outside of the Hex, we have Monica Rambeau, a continuation of what happened last week with, what's the director? I forgot the last name. Director Hayward, trying to take a shot and calling out Wanda. We get to the next level where he's even irate and talking crazy, saying like we need to destroy her, almost like he's taking everything like very personal, like look what we're allowing, looking at the thing, and you have Monica Rambeau having kind of Wanda's back, saying, hey, we don't know what happens if we take her out. What would happen? Period. Whether we need to use her to help her or to help us understand what's going on. What was your thoughts on what's going on outside of the Hex there?
Hayward is confusing me because I'm not sure whether his animosity well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, is he the bad guy or is he just superpowered? Like, is he just anti-superpowered people and that's why he's going so aggressive? Because one of the comments he made was when he was talking to Monica was, "Oh, you people that disappeared don't know what it was like." So, like, is this someone who is just really overreaching in terms of responding to what they went through when everything happened, or is he the bad guy? So, like, now I'm like, all right, is he just an asshole who's overreacting now to this power and wanting to create a weapon, and that's what Vision was supposed to be, and now he's got to cover his ass in terms of what he was trying to do, and he doesn't want Wanda to find out because of what she might react, so let's take her out while we can. Like, is he just being militaristic where instead of trying to peacefully resolve it, they just respond by force? So because for him to get upset with Monica because she sides with superpowered people, it just makes me feel like, okay, he just has a thing against them. Because even Carol Danvers, who he made it sound like it was a bad thing that she and Carol Danvers had a good relationship.
Right.
And meanwhile, she saved the world. Like she was one of the people that saved the world. So why would you be anti or against the relationship with that person? So, and he's just abusing his power in terms of what they've done and so forth. So in terms of him, I'm kind of back on the fence as to whether he's part of being the bad or is he just an asshole.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's funny that one thing I did find amusing was that at the end, when Wanda expands the Hex, that they all turn into circus characters.
Clowns.
It's starting to make me like wonder about if there is like an infiltration going on, because we haven't seen the beekeeper since he got kicked out in some way, shape, or form, right? And it's got me thinking that maybe there could be an infiltration of Sword in the shape of AIM. AIM was made by Hydra. It was made by Baron Zemo. Or Helmet Zemo. Sorry. So I think maybe there could have been an infiltration because he makes the beekeeper. He turns into a beekeeper where everyone else kind of turned into clowns. Maybe that could be a clue to AIM because they're all about bees and hexes. But the other thing as well is like I kind of, now that Darcy is in there, does this mean that everyone that goes through their DNA changes, is everyone gonna now have some sort of power?
Well, I think they said that because Monica had been through it twice, that if it happened a third time, then something else would happen because her DNA is changing. So, I'm going to assume that because, Wanda created the two kids that have these powers now, she's going to help create more people that are like her if that hex expands. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll ignite something in people that if they have these certain genes, they'll be able to be mutants or whatever. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I can see this hex. If we saw it expand once, I can only imagine it expanding throughout the entire globe. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And with Sanj, I was going to ask you now, what was your thoughts there with the whole like the kids there? That it seems like they got their powers or their powers actually showed big time on this one because they kind of showed in the last week's episode
They
when they
hinted
kept
at the
growing
powers.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of like do you know Wiccan and Speed in the comics or just this is like your first time like kind of like myself? This is my first time knowing about these people.
Yeah, this is my first time, being
Yeah.
introduced to them and their powers. But I mean, so I just find it interesting that they do like she would create, um twins and then give them the same powers that she and her brother have.
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go with that. I want to see what role the kids have to play in all this because remember they're in control of themselves. Like Wanda's not in control of their minds. She's not even in control of when they grow or not. They kind of look at each other and decide when they want to sprout up,
Yeah.
and move their narrative forward. So they're free agents in all of this as well. So it'll be interesting to see what role they have to play.
Absolutely, man. And then back in the Sword, Institute there, before they all got sucked into this hex part of the thing there, most of them did at least, we got the highlight that, oh, my guy, the engineer, is going to be ready in an hour. So I'm assuming this episode coming next week, this week on Friday, we're gonna get to see who this engineer is, and I hope because of the way they've been wording it and the way they've been hyping it up a little. They're not hyping it up, but come on, they're hyping it up. You're not giving me a name, my guy. Any second now we're gonna see this, and I'm just hoping that it's not a letdown, that it's something big. But I'm hoping that we see something else huge later on down the road too. It just seems like there's little nuggets there that we're gonna do something crazy. So let's get back to the ending of this episode. There,
So who do you think it is?
I'm hoping it's Reed Richards, bro. But I
think
don't
it's
know.
Victor Von Doom.
Von Doom. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Al, what do you think it is?
Or
Al?
Hank McCoy.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards Reed Richards too, and that's how
Yeah.
they're going to bring in Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Sanj, what about you, man? Who you hoping on?
I think it's possible that it's not a guy. I think you're reading it. I think we may be reading that wrong.
Okay.
What's her name? Jane
Foster.
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster. And is it Jane Foster or does she show up as Thor?
That's interesting, man. I'm looking forward to it. Has to be somebody, but then again, I also think that the freaking the witness protection guy who's going to show up sometime soon is going to be somebody big too. So it's like, come on, man, how many surprises we're going to get in this? And I've still got my fingers crossed for Magneto. Still got my fingers crossed.
I'm still thinking. I'm with Brandon. I'm thinking we're going to see some form of a Mephisto character. So I'm wondering who they're going to bring to play that guy. Because you had Quicksilver saying a lot of like devil references, like that Westview was charming as hell, and he referred to the kids as demon spawn. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they do have a Mephisto character who's playing that character.
Yeah, man. So listen, I got two last questions for you guys. The first one I'm going to ask is, Brandon, what thoughts on her freezing everything? The ability to freeze everybody in town and to expand the hex, showing that level of power there.
I think it goes back into a whole bunch of theories. We go back and forth between, is Wanda doing this herself or not? And she goes, I can't control everybody. You think I can do all of this? Meanwhile, we look on the outskirts of town. You have all these non-player characters just chilling on the side, waiting for their time to shine. And I'm like, you are doing it, so, I think it's crazy because what is the draw? Is it you, Wanda? Are you controlling everything? Because obviously, like you said, you can't control everyone. So everyone else just is kind of waiting in reserves for you to do something. Or are you doing that? Or, so I think that was kind of crazy
Where
to
were you
see
hiding the kids?
the
Where were you
kids,
hiding the kids?
between the kids, between those people on the outskirts of town. Like, I think that was crazy. And I think this is where I think Agatha or Agnes is playing Vision or playing everybody, because, for her to be exactly there as someone who is a main kind of character in Wanda's show, for her to be on the outskirts and she made a wrong turn and blah, 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 blah. Like, I think she wanted Vision to find her.
Gotcha.
She's stirring up trouble, and I think this leads into Vision. I don't know in what way she needs Vision to realize this, because I don't know what the importance of Vision is in this show, other than him discovering all these things. Like, why does she need Vision to understand that this is all some kind of fake thing? What is her need for Vision to do?
Gotcha, man. And then the last question I'll have to Sanj and Al, with the way that the director talked about the last 5 years, and with us, we pretty much just got 5 years later on the screen and nothing else. Do you think that there's going to be a movie that touches on, or maybe a character that was involved to let us see what those 5 years were like? Sanj, what's your take on that?
I don't know. I mean, we're
Would you
getting
want
a
to see
lot.
something like that?
Not really, because we're getting a lot of it from WandaVision. I think they can pepper it in to the beginning of the next phase, and just have it organic that way, that it's make it part of the universe, that it's there, and it's part of the fabric of everything that's going on, and you'll get little things here and there. I would much rather that than have a movie specifically about that, because then that feels like they're kind of doing too much to smooth it over.
Gotcha.
In that sense. So I would just rather it be weaved into the fabric of whatever they're doing.
Gotcha. How about yourself, man? Any interest in seeing what happened in those 5 years?
No, kind of like what Sanj was just saying. Like, they've already touched on it enough. I mean, between the beginning of Endgame, when they show everything that happened after the 5 years, touching on it now in WandaVision, just keep reference the impact of those 5 years, like Hayward did even in this episode, where he said, "Oh, you guys have the luxury of optimism. You don't know what it was like." Like, references like that. But I don't know if I need a series drawn out to cover those 5 years. We already seen what the impact of the 5 years are, and just go from there.
Yeah, man. Listen, if anyone's gonna do it right, it would be the Marvel team and Kevin Feige, man. They seem to know what they're doing, everything. So listen, guys, I appreciate the takes, the honesty, and the fun that we've had on this podcast today, man. Also, just give you guys a heads up. This is our 100th episode today, so it's appreciative that all 4 of us are here together to do it together. 100 podcasts on movies, man, and all these little side things here. So I appreciate you guys, man. It's been a fun 100 episodes recording with you guys. It's been really awesome, and it's like funny, there's things that we stick to and things that we don't. Like, we're gonna work out, we're gonna eat right. Yeah, no, we'll do the podcast. Do the podcast. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, fellas, man. Love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. And the people who are listening, man, I'm glad you're listening as well. We appreciate it. Listen, the best thing you could do for us is tell somebody else what we do here, and that you like our opinions, our takes, and you have them follow us also. So if you haven't, subscribe yourself, hit that little subscribe button. If you're listening to us on a podcast, hit that little plus symbol so that we come up for you guys every week. Any questions, comments, theories, send it to us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Coming out of Long Island, New York, we got my man Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
We got my boy Sanj.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe. Stay safe.
We got my brother B.
Adios.
And myself, Hob. Thanking you as always. Thank you for listening. Come back and check us out for WandaVision episode 7 next week, and more stuff to come. Until next time.